Alright everyone, so today we are talking about the YMA Toon Shader. This is going to be a demo of the product and just kind of how it works, a little peek underneath the hood, and all the cool things that it can do. So let's just jump in and I'll show you what it's all about. So the first thing you're going to get is you're going to get a package of 30 different presets that you can choose from that you can easily drag and drop onto your objects. Yeah. So today we're going to be starting with the most basic preset and then kind of going from there. So we're going to be starting with the YMA Simple Outline. Now what you're looking at here is the YMA Simple Outline. Now I've already applied this to the object to save time. Now let's just go ahead and look at the UI of this. All right, so underneath the UI here, you'll see that we have a few different settings, and the first one that we have in order here is the light settings, and that's the first great thing about this shader is it works with lights. All right, so what that means is if I come here and I rotate my light, it's actually going to interact with that light and the shading, and it's going to do what you would think it would do. Okay, it also does a really nice thing, which is it also interacts with point lights, right? So if I come here and I move this, it's going to react with a point light based on distance. Now, one thing to know about the shader is that it does not respect intensity. So really it's looking at your rotation and your position values. So that's the first cool thing. Now, the second cool thing is just how much control you have over this shader. So if I come in here, I have, of course, basic control where I can come in, I can change the colors, I can do pretty much anything I want with that. And I can also, on top of that, I can change the stepping of it, the posterization of it. So let's pick a color here. And then you can see if I come in, I can change the posterization of how many is happening. Now past that, you also have control of the actual ramp itself. So if I want the highlights, for instance, to be the shadows and have it reversed, I could do that really simple, right? So that's basically what this control is. You can also, of course, I can make this, if I want to make this a different color, I can make it a different color. Let's just do something crazy. And as soon as I do that, you'll see that we're getting that in there. So lots of possibilities there. Moving on, next we have our line control. Now the lines are pretty awesome. So the first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to get a color that we can actually see. So let's go ahead and make it yellow. And then let's just start cranking up the thickness and see what happens. So we have our outline thickness, and you'll see as soon as we do that, we start to get the outline that comes through. Now this is all based on the size of your object, so if you push it too far, it's going to break. But we also have controls further for that, which we explain in depth in the package. For now, let's just leave it somewhere in here. And then next we have our inner line thickness. So our inner line thickness is also kind of what you think it is. It's the detail on our inner lines. So if I come in here and I start to pull this, it's going to look for as much detail as I can get. And then again, we also have controls for getting more threshold detail in there and really dialing it in based on your scene scale and your object. We also have opacity, pretty self-explanatory. And then we have bias just kind of for further control, so you can kind of just dial it in as much as you want, right? So this just kind of pumps it up. Again, it's a balance of your object. All right, so next let's go ahead and move over to our halftone patterns. So we've set up some really great halftone patterns in here that are just gonna get you up and running really quick. So underneath our pattern selector, we have quite a few different options, from dots to lines, to even crosshatch. So you can come in here, you can crosshatch it, set it to 45 degrees, and you've got a crosshatch just like that. You can even control the distance that it falls off from the shadow. So if you just want a little touch of it, right, you can do that. The next cool thing that we have in here is you have the ability to actually put in a custom texture. So with your package, we've included a few different custom textures. Now I'm just gonna pick one here and drag it in, and you're gonna see what's gonna happen. Okay, so we're gonna drag this in, and then once again, we're going to play with the scale. And as soon as we do that, you'll see that we're starting to get kind of like a painterly kind of look that's happening here. I might even just adjust the scale even more, just so it happens even more dramatic. And then we can increase our fall off. And as soon as we do that, you'll see we get something that's pretty cool. It's almost like speed lines. All right, past that, you have the ability to just apply this to the lines. So let's say you just wanted this to be on the lines. Let's go over to our halftone settings and let's turn off the custom display. And you'll see that now it's just on the lines. Now, what if we wanted the opposite? So we can do that too. We can go back to our custom display. We can go to our lines, and we've given you control here so you can control how much detail you actually want in these lines, right? Like how much distortion or not distortion that you want in these lines. So really nice control there. Next, I'm going to go back over and I'm going to turn off the halftone pattern and get us back to where we were. Okay, so next let's go ahead and let's look at the pattern overlay. So pattern overlays are basically like an extra level of detail that you can put in if you want. So I'm just going to put in a pattern here that we've included, and I'm going to just start messing with the threshold. So this is basically going to be an extra print that goes on top that won't actually affect your lines or your shadow detail. So I can come in here and maybe pick a color that is from here, and then I can bring down the opacity. I have the control to actually how big or how small it's going to be. And I also have the control of how thick or thin it's going to be. So if I zoom in one more time, you'll see that it's getting thicker and thinner. So that's that. I'm actually going to apply something that has been working well for me, which are these prints. All right, so I've applied the settings for these prints that I think are working pretty well. It's going to kind of give us a Spiderverse kind of look, I guess. And so let's just see where we're at. So just like that, we've created something that I would consider quite beautiful, and in really a matter of no time. So the last thing, let's talk about the actual functionality with Redshift. Now, this is fully functional with Redshift. It works with Redshift Materials, and let me show you how that happens. So let's go ahead and open up our shader. And inside our shader graph, you'll see that we have the YMA Toon Shader, and that is already hooked up to a material, which is not being used now. But what you are able to do is you are able to drive certain properties of the Redshift material with your Toon Shader. So right now I'm driving my emissions color, and my diffuse color can be driven, but right now it's actually off. So let's go ahead and let's connect the material, and you're going to see that we're going to get some nice highlights that are happening here, and we're going to get reflections that are happening here. Now I've made them kind of crazy colors, kind of a pink kind of crazy color that's happening, but it works, right? And it works interactively. So if I come here and I move my dome light, it's going to interact with it, and it's going to actually respond to it, right? It's going to be just like you would expect a normal Redshift material to interact with. So this is really where the true depth to this comes in, because you can really nudge this around, and I can come here and I can say that I want like this to be up, right? I want my backlighting to be up. And then, so when I do that, obviously quite a bit. So the possibilities are basically endless. And the one last thing is to note is that it does work with depth of field. If I come in here and I zoom in, you'll see that we are getting true depth of field, as well as it works with animation. As this guy runs, it's going to follow and track with him. All right, so that's going to do it for the YMA Toon Shader demo. I hope that this has given you some insight on how the shader works and what its capabilities and the possibilities are for using this shader. If you do end up purchasing it and you create some cool work, if you'd like your work to be featured, use the hashtag YMAToon or just tag us on Instagram. Can't wait to see what you come up with, and I will see you on the next one.